I'm Al Bledsoe, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1108, and welcome to another session of Proudly We Served.
I'm Ron Chappell, Chaplain for Vietnam Veterans 777 here in Richmond. And welcome again to Proudly We Serve. Today we have some very special guests on the program today. Mr. Matthew Vincent from the Department of Veterans Affairs in Indianapolis, and Mr. Tim Dyke from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Mr. Vincent is Director of Care, and Mr. Dyke is Director of Training and Service, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So let's get started with Matt first, and let's go over some of the things, if you could, of some coming events and some different things you've got coming. And
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having us down here.
Sure. It's our pleasure.
We have a big
pleasure.
push over the past few years of reaching out all across Indiana, and opportunities like this are, we're grateful to have. We've had several community outreach events over the past couple of years, and one is to get into the communities, provide the services that we offer, as well as the local affiliates. And we've got, coming up in May, we've got an event in Jeffersonville, Indiana on May 17th, Fort Wayne, May 19th, Lafayette, June 8th, Gary, June 15th, and Indianapolis on June 22nd. We also have a golf outing that we host every year with the Pat McAfee Foundation, the punter of the Colts. He provides grants to children of veterans for college. So we've been working with him the past couple of years, and we have a golf outing to provide financial assistance to them on June 17th, and that's in Greenwood, Indiana. And we also have How and Why to Hire a Veteran. This is a big summit. It's a brand new thing from our employment team of How and Why to Hire a Veteran. That is on June 1st this year. So we're looking forward to getting different companies, different providers, everybody that helps veterans out to that event. It's all free and ready to go once you show up.
Wow.
well, I think the how to hire a vet, I think that's a very, very good program.
Yeah.
And locally here, I think we work with workforce development.
Sure.
We have a key person there that does all of that stuff.
Right.
But people need to be aware, I think, that some of these veterans that are coming home really have a lot of skills, and certainly they're disciplined.
Correct.
And know what it's like to go to work and
Yeah.
do all of that stuff. So to me, that's a veteran would be just an excellent person to hire, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good program.
Does the VA provide any specific incentive for companies or businesses to hire veterans?
Unfortunately, we don't at
You
the
don't.
state level.
Okay.
We don't have the capability of doing that and resources. But the federal VA, they don't really offer anything specific like that. So our objective is to reach out to companies. We have a program called our Veteran Opportunity Partner Program. So we reach out to these companies, explain to them, hey, are you looking to hire veterans and why?
Right.
So we have a whole website on our within our website of veteran-friendly companies looking to hire veterans. And at our outreach events, we bring those specific companies in because they are ready to hire a veteran on the spot.
Yeah. I know I've had opportunity to talk to several business people, and my suggestion to them in hiring veterans is to understand that as a veteran, when you're in the military, you don't learn just your job.
Right.
You learn everything that
Everything.
impacts. You know what I'm saying? So you come out with a full, well-rounded understanding of what's necessary to get the job accomplished. So that for the business, that's less training requirement,
Right.
and less financial expenditure to get that person to where you need them to be.
Yeah. Soft skills. Veterans
Yeah.
have a lot of soft skills,
Sure.
and they're just trained that way.
Absolutely.
Situational awareness and,
Absolutely.
just noticing things like that and how a veteran can operate, without much supervision.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Speaking of the training, we had learned earlier that Tim actually trains our good friend Pete McDaniel, who's our service officer.
Did a good job too, by the way.
And we found out
Did a good
that
job.
Tim actually trains him, and maybe that's why Pete does a good job. I was
does.
watching the show today.
Yeah, he does a good
We thank him for his support also. But Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you do all that stuff to help guys?
I don't personally train them all, but what I do is coordinate a lot of the training that they do get.
Okay.
The facility, the outside people that come in. We get the federal VA involved with our training. They give us a briefing, and we get the outside veteran service organizations like the Legion, the VFW, the Disabled American Veterans, all the ones that have a presence in the federal regional office, because they're the ones that do the preponderance of the claims. So they come in and they brief our county veteran service officers on what's trending, what is needed as far as when a claim comes in, if something is missing something, and that gives them a better aspect of how to put that claim together to get it processed as fast as possible. So, and then we have a lot of other outside agencies that come in that are veteran friendly or veteran related that can give opportunities to veterans outside of what the VA and our agency offers as well. So they get a pretty well-rounded training agenda with that training.
Sure.
And we actually have training coming up next week. It starts on Monday and will go through Thursday. And what we're focusing on this time is we actually have a veteran claims management system that we're using, and we're actually going to do some hands-on training rather than just brief slides for hour upon hour upon hour. And I'm just going to try to pull from our veteran county service officers who have been doing this for quite a while, because we have probably 30 to 40 new service officers within the last 18 months.
Wow.
And we're just going to pull that resource from our veteran county service officers and, cross ideas and see how they do things in their office and get some different aspects on how they can do a claim.
How is it with the service officers, and I feel like we've got to be one of the best. I mean, Pete seems to always have an answer when you ask him the question anyway.
Yes, he does.
But how hard is it? It would appear to me, because of my nature, it would appear to me that it would be difficult to get negotiated with the VA if I've got a problem, unless I had him in between, because I want an answer now.
It's very important to have a service officer.
Certainly,
And
yeah.
I'll always recommend that a veteran gets a service officer to help them
Certainly.
with a claim rather than
Yeah.
put it in themselves. And along with that, get a power of attorney, because that's your representative between the veteran and the VA. And if it does have to go to the appeals process, now you have representation in front of the Veteran Board of Appeals. So it's very important that the veteran does that. And then if they do select a power of attorney, like the Legion or one of the other veteran service organizations, it's not just that one service officer. Anybody in that organization can act as the power of attorney and look up to see where the claim is and where it is in the process of being rated.
Some of the older guys, I think we was talking about that earlier, some of the older guys that, served, and maybe they, like they say, they know their MOS or their social security number, but they don't know anything else.
Right.
And, I feel sorry for those guys, because they don't have any family to help them. So here they are out there, 85 years old, and they just can't remember all of the facts. And it looks like to me that the VA would just take them under their arm and say, you served and we'll take care of you, but it must be more than a process of that. So.
Well, the VA's process are pretty significant. So if we have the opportunity, we like to help those individuals.
Okay.
So right now I'm working with a 93-year-old World War II veteran. He's never really done anything, and now it's time that he's getting all his ducks in a row. He doesn't have any family, so I call it, or he calls me 3 or 4 times a week just to make sure that, hey, is everything moving well? So when it comes to that, we play third party a lot, and within our office, so we provide what we can to that veteran. If they need to get VA health care, we can easily sign them up for that. There's been several times that we've taken their paperwork to the VA. The VA makes them an appointment, to come get health care for the first time. So leading into this, we have a nursing home initiative. I'm glad you brought that up. We started this in early March, actually March 1st, to reach out to over 500 nursing homes across Indiana. There's a few different associations. We've spoken with all of them, and they're happy to have us go out and visit with the older veterans that are at these facilities. As of right now, we've been to over 40. I've got a guy right now, Lauren Minix, he's down in Terre Haute. He's going to hit 4 or 5 today. And what we're doing is just providing them basic information that they may not have known already, and getting the veterans together, trying to, get some veterans groups formed,
Right.
and all the facilities, superintendents have been very receptive, and they are incredibly happy to have us out there and at least, get them trained up on the basic services that a veteran might be able to receive.
Right. So what about veterans that they've passed on and they're widows? Do you assist them in any way? Do they get any
Absolutely,
services? Yeah.
absolutely. Because a lot of times if the veteran was receiving some type of compensation through a service-connected disability, that widow could be entitled to dependency compensation as well and get a portion of what the widow was getting, or what the veteran was getting, and now the widow can receive that compensation as well.
That's awesome.
And that goes along with the state benefit of property tax deductions as well. So it really
that's
helps
great.
them out when they're in, limited financial assets.
You need
What
more-
other
more
benefits?
publicity
Yeah.
than that.
What other benefits can the veterans in specifically Indiana apply for? What else is out there for them that they could
The
reach
biggest,
out to?
probably the biggest state benefit we do is tuition and fee exemption for children of disabled veterans, children of Purple Heart recipients, and in some rare cases, children of former POWs.
Wow.
What that means for them is these biological or adopted children essentially go to any state-sponsored school tuition free for up to 124 semester hours. So that's a big, huge
That's a huge
benefit in
benefit.
Indiana.
So what about a veteran's child who has gotten married?
Marriage has no boundaries on it.
He or she would still be
Just as
eligible?
long as
Still
it's a
be
child of a
eligible. Is that
disabled
right?
veteran. Yes, sir.
Now, there are stipulations between like the old law and what we call the new law, depending upon when the veteran initially entered the military.
Yeah.
If it was after July 1st of 2011, we have not done any of those applications yet, but there is an age limit, and it is paid out a little bit differently, and it's based upon the veteran's disability rating.
Okay.
The state will pay out essentially 20% plus whatever the disability rating is of the veterans.
How much do they get now when they go to, like if I was going to go to school?
If
at
you
IU
wanted to go to like Indiana
Yeah,
University,
okay.
and you're a child of a disabled veteran and you fit all the criteria, basically your tuition is paid for, and the
Okay.
mandatory fees of that university. So the mandatory fees are the fees that each student's going to pay for, but you won't have to pay a bill towards your tuition.
That's a huge deal here
It's
at IU.
huge,
I mean, the
absolutely.
campus that
IU,
we're on
Purdue,
now.
Ball
Yeah.
State, Ivy Tech.
But does the percentage of disability matter? 10%, 20%?
Under the old law, it does not matter. The veteran can be rated at 0%
Right now.
essentially, and still get the benefit for the child.
Okay.
Wow.
And you're probably wondering, well, if they're 0, they don't really have a disability. And what a 0% really means is that they do have some type of condition that the VA recognizes. It's just not to the severity that it warrants compensation for.
Right.
But it can be rated, and it could always be increased later on in life if the condition does get worse, and they can apply for that increase.
Have they tightened that up some on the Afghanistan, Iraq guys coming home, and possibly the Syria guys later on? I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Are they being a little bit, how do I want to say that, tight with the money? Are they like with their benefits and stuff? If they've been shot, maybe they got PTSD, that kind of stuff. Are they? What are they doing with that?
I guess what
Is that
are
a question, or is that
I'm
garbage stuff?
in regards to that same
That's
program?
rambling.
Are you talking about the tuition and fee program?
Or are you just talking
just
of benefits?
overall?
Yeah, the tuition and fee program, when they come home,
So like Tim
that's
said,
kind of a given thing.
Right,
But
so-
what about the compensation end of
for
it?
the compensation,
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm talking
that's
about.
all individually
Disabilities.
based.
One.
Right,
I'll
okay.
get it
There's no real cookie cutter thing for each veteran. Each veteran that comes in has their own issues, medical conditions, things like that. So it's really a case-by-case basis. The big thing about getting a claim in is getting all the evidence that you can get gathered up and
Sure.
get the claim what they call fully developed before it's submitted. And in a lot of cases, those claims are being rated right around 95 to 120 days, somewhere in that area. So the backlog that the federal VA was experiencing is pretty much gone down to nothing. That doesn't mean much for a veteran who has been waiting 125 days.
Sure.
But the preponderance of those backlogs are caught up now. And what's being backlogged now is the appeals process, because they have to pull resources from one to get the other one back. And they're pulling the resources to get the appeals processes backlog work down as well.
What about folks who served in the military but didn't serve in a combat-related position? Because I've had that issue. I've addressed the issue here with some folk who served, and I've tried to get them to join our organization. And they say, well, I'm not eligible because I didn't serve in combat.
Well, usually when it, for our benefits, is just, during a combat time. So it's not, you didn't have to go to Vietnam, you didn't have to go to Iraq, you didn't have to go to Afghanistan, you didn't have to go to Desert Storm. So a lot of the people that are eligible, they fall within that time frame. The only thing, unfortunately, that we see with state benefits is the guys from the late 70s to, early 1990, which isn't a wartime services or service era.
Yeah.
So there are those Grenadas, the Panamas, the few times where it was just an operation,
Right.
and that's just state legislation. Unfortunately, us at the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs can't control.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are those instances, and unfortunately, we have to be the bad guys to tell them it sucks.
Was Vietnam was never called a war, was it? It was always considered a conflict. Am I
Well,
right?
that's always
And
I think
yeah,
that's
that's a
always going to
nonsense
be the
question.
Vietnam War.
Well,
Yeah.
the VA really considers those wartime periods, and they actually have dates down to the day.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, we've had veterans that have applied for benefits that have missed it by one day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's too bad. And then
You got to be the bearer of bad news sometimes that they just don't qualify based upon when they serve. But
Wow, I
Man,
didn't
that's-
realize. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that sensitive.
yeah, and that's we just have to follow the law of Indiana.
Are there state programs they can apply for money or
Yes.
grants or anything?
Yes, we have
These
a
veterans that are out there in the community. We
Yeah.
have 5,200, I think, in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
So
so they can apply for benefits. I mean, I'm talking about maybe a grant money or something like that.
Yes, sir. We have a program. It's called the Military Family Relief Fund.
Okay.
And that is a grant that we can provide to, as it stands right now, to all post 9/11 veterans that served more than 30 days on active duty.
Okay.
And beginning in 2007, the fund started, and you used to have been deployed within the past year. They moved that to have been deployed in the past 3 years. And then in 2014, Governor Pence signed a law to open it to all post 9/11 veterans. So we've seen a significant increase over the past 8-9 years, which is great for us. All that money comes from license plate sales. And for instance, I have a Marine Corps license plate. I pay $15. That money goes directly into the Military Family Relief Fund. And within the past 2 years, since that opened to all post 9/11 veterans, we've almost given out $2.5 million to post 9/11 veterans. And another good thing about that fund is it's opening to all veterans beginning July 1st. So all veterans are going to be eligible as long as they serve 30 or more days on active duty, 30 or more days continuous on active duty. And I imagine we'll see, a significant increase at that time as well. So I think since the fund has been available, we've helped almost 2,000 veterans and or family members.
Wow.
And, I imagine we'll see another, I would say, 10-20% of that, within the near future, come July, because there are a lot of.
Is that a cash payment to them or what
Yes,
exactly
it
is that?
is. So
Okay.
they submit all their bills, and we add them up and say, okay, here's this, and then pay your bills and get your after you pay those bills, get us the receipts that you paid for them, and in good faith, and it works out really well. We've had people come crying and saying, I didn't know I could make it another couple days if I didn't get that money, and now I've got my car fixed, I can go get a job. Now we've got our mortgage paid. Now we can use this money to get groceries for our 4 kids.
Yeah, that was my thought. It's got to be a crisis-related situation.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
it's an emergency
Yeah,
relief,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it keeps them from getting evicted from their home or getting
Yeah.
the lights turned
Oh,
out.
wow.
Or we can give them some
That's
money
awesome.
for groceries, things like that, to just keep them above water till they can get their
Yeah.
feet back on the
We
ground.
had that AER. We had that Army Emergency
Army
Relief.
Emergency Relief, very
to
similar,
that.
very
Yeah,
similar.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Matt was saying, we can pay this directly into the veteran's account. If there's questions there, we also have the ability to pay that vendor directly
Right.
if we get them set up as a vendor. So, I mean, there's some veterans that are on some hard times and they're on some troubled times.
Sure.
And maybe we want to make sure that that rent gets paid.
Yes.
And if it's questionable, we do have the ability to pay that
And we do that.
that person directly as well instead of it going straight
How
to the
long would you
veteran.
pay, say, someone's rent? Is it a
So
one-time thing, or
It's
Usually-
a one-time grant,
yeah, so-
depending upon what bills they
Right,
submit.
and you have, each veteran that's eligible has up to $2,500, and you can use $1,000 this year and come back in 3 months and use $500, all the way up to $2,500. And, you know, there are veterans that do that. You know, I need help with my rent, and then, you know, they go into a new job and, well, I'm not getting paid as much as I thought. I need help with rent again. So we've seen many instances like that. So
Yeah.
every case is incredibly different. You know, we have to play to the veteran and what their needs are. And we have two great people that work this program, and, you know, they follow up. They talk to these veterans. They provide other services. We also, you had mentioned grants, or we also received a grant from the Division of Family Resources, which is another state agency, to provide services for needy families. And we've been able to provide child care, counseling, marriage retreats, vocational training for veterans and their family members, you know, trying to get their lives back in order. So we call it a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah.
And we've helped almost 400 families with that for almost $1 million over the past year.
Yeah, we need greater dissemination
How
of
do
this
we,
kind of information.
yeah,
I'm
how do
telling
we,
you, it's-
He was talking about that, though.
That's awesome.
When we talk to these veterans and when the ladies who do these applications, it's not just a handout. It is a
Right.
hand up, like Matt said. So we ask them fact-finding questions like,
Sure.
what led you to get in this situation? And a lot of times it might be employment, or they need some additional assistance. So we have people right in our office and located throughout the state that if they are unemployed, we'll hook them up with those people too and start looking for a job for them to keep them from getting in that situation again. So it's not just slap a Band-Aid on it and move out.
Right.
So-
What causes that? What causes a veteran to go sideways after he's come home from Iraq or wherever he's coming from?
So-
What causes that person to do the homeless thing? What causes our homeless population? I guess that's what I'm saying.
I think a lot of it stems from not everybody that goes into the military has a strong family foundation, and
Yeah.
you know, they get out of the military, they were infantrymen, and you know, they look, well, what am I going to do? There's no infantry in the
Yeah.
civilian
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
How am I going to do
Jeez, you
that?
just don't wanna be a
And they
part of
come
it.
back, you know, from California or wherever they were stationed after 2 or 3 tours, and they get home and, you know, they don't have much family. They don't have anybody to rely on. Their friends are not there. They've counted on their friends for 4, 8, 12 years, and now they're gone. Now they're by themselves. So we've been able to help a lot of those veterans out, and it's not going to happen overnight. You know, if you need some financial assistance to get you in housing, there's plenty of different programs. The supportive services for veteran families can pay your first 6 months rent. You know, we can help you financially, get you a job, get you counseling, and you know, it's not just one thing. It's a conglomeration of things that, you know, puts this person in that situation. And whenever I'm helping an individual, I say, you know, we got to do one thing at a time. We can't tackle this all at once, because as humans, once you get overwhelmed, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like coming back from vacation now. You can't you can't even go on vacation and come back and have a, you know, steady week the next week.
Yeah,
It's like, well, where do I even start?
Yeah.
So that's why we try to tell these veterans, you know, one thing at a time. Let's get you, you know, put a Band-Aid on this right now. We'll get you into the VA. We'll get you counseling. And then, you know, one step at a time. And then we've seen awesome, incredible success stories of veterans like you saw them, you know, 3 months ago. They come back in and they're like, wait, who are you?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's
The
amazing
big
stuff.
thing is you got to get down with the veteran, and they have to realize that they need the
That
help.
they need the
and,
help.
and reach out.
Good point.
And we're there to help them do that. But until they reach that milestone, it's really, really difficult. So.
Would you say most, I think, get out probably with some sort of administrative or technical skill? the majority, you know, but those that don't,
It's hard.
yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And now with companies closing up, moving out of the United States, and those
Yeah.
kinds of things, you know,
And there has been big companies that have come to Indiana, but unfortunately, you know, those job trades are going down because, you know, it's not like 20, 30 years ago when there was so much manufacturing.
Yes.
People learn these skills.
Right,
So right now we do have the capabilities of paying for your training to go to Ivy Tech or Vincent's for machining. You know, we can do that.
right.
Let's.
right.
We're going to have to
Yeah,
throw
we're out of
interference.
time. We need to bring these guys back,
We're
you
going
know what I'm saying?
to have to have
We
you
gotta
come
bring
back
it back,
again. But
man. We out of time.
this is our Memorial Day program. So I'm going to ask Matt if he won't just give us a few thoughts for Memorial Day and.
Yes. So one of the things at our office, we make sure to differentiate between Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Correct.
On Memorial Day, we celebrate the people that have died for our country. On Veterans Day, we celebrate the veterans that have served and are still living. And one of the most important things about Memorial Day is to look back all the way into the early couple 300 years ago of, you know, where we were as a country and the people that have fought and died for us. And, you know, I've lost a couple of my good friends in Iraq, and just to be able to celebrate them on this day, and I celebrate them every day, but for us to be able to look past, you know, look in the past, who we've lost and what they meant to us, and each and every one of us that has lost somebody to the military, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, you know, it's a day to celebrate what they've done, celebrate our country for what it is.
With that, we're out of
gotta
here.
go, yeah.
Thank you very
All right,
much
folks.
for watching.
Thank you,
and,
yeah.
these gentlemen will be back again, and we'll have some more questions to ask them. So
And answers.
For now, goodbye.
Bye.